Hi all. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our Cloud on Air session introducing the new Professional Cloud Database Engineer certification. I'm Mara Sauce, Google Cloud Credentials and Certifications Engagement Lead, here with staff Google Cloud Developer Advocate Priyanka.
Hi.
You can ask questions at any time by submitting them in the box. We've got Googlers on standby to answer them. Now, let's get started.
So, Mara, I get this question a lot about why Google Cloud certification, or why should I invest in becoming a Google Cloud certified engineer? And today I want to ask that question to you. How would you answer that?
Great place to start, Priyanka. So let's just dive into some data points that I think are going to help answer those questions. Now, as cloud adoption continues to rapidly grow, so do the capabilities of what the technology can achieve and the need for skills that can take advantage of the latest cloud advancements. Recently reported data states that 90% of IT leaders want to grow their cloud environments in the next several years. It is clear that organizations understand the value in moving to cloud from reduced IT costs and increased scalability to improve security and efficiency. However, this rapid change has introduced a new problem, ensuring employees have the right skills and knowledge to keep up with the rapid changes in technology. In fact, 80% of those same IT leaders stated that they feel the lack of skills and knowledge amongst their employees will prevent them from achieving this required growth. Google Cloud certification can really help validate your team's technical capabilities while demonstrating that your organization has been committed to the fast pace of cloud. We'd also like to highlight some recently reported data that states that Google Cloud certifications give individuals confidence in their mastery of new cloud skills, with 87% stating they feel more confident about their cloud skills with certifications.
Those were really very staggering numbers. And what I have seen in those numbers and in general is there are lots of startups that are emerging and lots of traditional companies that are trying to modernize their infrastructure because it is faster and it's better and it's good for the companies to move towards cloud. And all of that requires these cloud skills, which leads into a lot of training and certification emphasis, and it sets you up for success in this expanding space of cloud.
So Priyanka, I know you're excited to walk our audience through the new professional certification, the Professional Cloud Database Engineer certification. So now let's jump right in.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm obviously very excited to talk more about this newly added certification to showcase the database expertise. Now, the cloud database space is really evolving rapidly, with the worldwide cloud database market projected to reach $68.5 billion by 2026, which is not really far. So as more databases move to fully managed cloud database services, the traditional database engineer or a database administrator is now being tasked to handle more nuanced and advanced functions. In fact, there is a massive need for database engineers to lead strategic decision-making and distinguish themselves with a more developed and advanced skill set than what the industry previously called for.
Okay, so let's say I'm interested in what the certification is all about and I'm ready to take this on. How do I know if I have the right profile and if I could be successful as a candidate for the certification?
All great questions. So let's start with some general guidelines or guidance to think whether I'm the right candidate for this or not. So if you have like 5+ years of overall database experience and 2 years of hands-on experience with Google Cloud databases specifically, then you're a perfect candidate to think about this certification. And if you're new to working with Google Cloud databases, then learning resources that we will cover in the next section will really help you enhance your knowledge and skills in the direction of this certification. And one strong characteristic of this certification that I really want to point out is this is really focused on the important work that database engineers do every day. So you wouldn't find the extraordinary or rare cases or edge cases database type of questions in there. You'll always find one single right answer that is designed to avoid any confusion. And we also avoid deceiving questions. So the learning resources that we'll cover in the next section will really help you enhance your knowledge and skills towards getting certified.
Thank you for that, Priyanka. And now maybe we can dive a bit more into what the certification is all about.
Great. Yeah. So this certification really intends to give an opportunity to the Google Cloud Database Engineer community to demonstrate their knowledge and experience on the Google Cloud Database solutions. So many of which Google has its own systems running on, such as the Cloud Spanner. We are seeking database engineers that are really excited with the many capabilities and the possibilities of Google Cloud Database portfolio offers for designing, scaling, and deploying such systems. So that's what the certification is about. Showcase your database prowess on Google Cloud.
Exactly. Okay. Well, now, how would one go even about preparing for this and, demonstrating exam readiness? What steps would you recommend, Priyanka?
Great. Okay, so you're ready. You think you are the right candidate for this. Now, next step is to think about how I'm going to prepare for this. So this exam was really created for professionals working with databases. So they know all the really basic concepts. They have done migrations, deployments, troubleshooting databases, things like that. All activities that a regular database administrator would do in their day-to-day job. Plus, doing all of these on Google Cloud. So using those database technologies that we've created is like a combination of those two characteristics.
Okay, great. And can you then walk us through how to approach preparation? I mean, what resources are available? Where do I get started?
Great. Okay, so before we get into talking about the training content available on Google Cloud, it may be helpful to think about it in terms of a framework of use cases and considerations that really encompass all the activities that a database engineer needs to do on a regular basis. So think about things like and this also includes database administration on Google Cloud. So you can think about things like you're running your database on premises and you now want to migrate to Google Cloud. What are the real steps or techniques you would apply to move that data from point A to point B? The other thing to think about could be how to select the best Google Cloud database for your new or existing applications. What are the benefits and drawbacks of each of those options? And then making a decision that makes sense for your use case. Third thing to think about is how do you translate your business requirements of database solutions in Google Cloud. So this is about what the use case is, what format makes sense for your data, relational, non-relational, document-based, combination of two or three. So think about high availability, disaster recovery, performance, and self-management versus managed, like lots of different considerations when you're thinking about choosing a database option or a solution for your use case. And then finally, once you're running on Google Cloud, how do you perform tasks such as deploying a new database or dealing with a failover or scaling a database out when you need more capacity or creating replicas and connecting to the database using the identity and access management because you only want specific applications to access that database. So if you keep these considerations in mind, you should have a very pleasant experience with the certification because these are the basics of any database administration job. And having said all of this, the best place to really start is with the Google Cloud authored training content that's available to explore on Google Cloud Skills Boost.
Wow, that's so helpful, I know, for our viewers. And thank you, Priyanka, for touching on those topics. And now, what specific resources are available on Google Cloud Skills Boost? You mentioned Skills Boost. I know that's our on-demand training platform with all the content for Google Cloud Learning, but what's available there?
Great. Yeah. So some diving a little bit deeper into the specifics here. So in order to prepare, the first thing you would have to do is to start with this exam guide. Review it just to begin with, and then keep reviewing it as you start studying. Keep going back to it. Then learn with an on-demand course and practice by earning skills badges. And these skills badges are in different categories of different kind. I recommend starting with Google Cloud Fundamentals for core infrastructure and enterprise database migration, because you would need to learn a little bit of how to migrate the data. There are some more in there to explore, like migrate MySQL data to Cloud SQL using the database migration service. If for Postgres, you have managed PostgreSQL database on Cloud SQL, and then create and manage Cloud Spanner databases. There's also one on managing Bigtable on Google Cloud, and tons of other additional resources. Like I remember I wrote a blog a few months ago about which database options to choose. I have a sketch on that. And then there's some more on modernization and migration. We'll include all of these resources for you as well. And in the exam guide, you'll find some of these things too. So ideally for preparation, you'll go through the exam guide before you start even preparing for the exam to check what topics and areas maybe you already know and what extra effort you need to put into some other topics. And I would start there and then review that exam guide again for preparing and verifying whether you really feel ready to take the test.
Thank you, Priyanka. I know that was super helpful for our audience. And you did mention skill badges, and I'd love to just take a moment to highlight what a skill badge is and how they can maybe help someone prepare for the certification exam.
Yeah, so skill badges are really quests, and they end in their collection of labs. But then the last lab is a challenge lab where you can earn a completion badge. And research has really shown that 90% of the skill badge earners report that skill badges, in fact, helped them prepare on their Google Cloud certification journey. And the way I look at skill badges is really that opportunity to tell me that I am prepared with this topic. And then that's when I can go back to the exam guide and be like, now moving on to the next step, which is maybe another topic. So just as like that confidence booster, that's how I like to look at skills badges. But yeah, get a badge.
Wow, skill badges sound really fantastic, and it's just a great way to round out your skills and gain confidence, create some momentum for yourself as you're on your way to preparing for the certification exam. And speaking of exam, Priyanka, can you talk our readers through like what's the experience like on exam day? What should they look forward to or not?
Exams are always intimidating. No, don't get scared, right? Our Google Cloud certification exams are multiple choice formats, and you're provided with 2 hours to complete the questions, and you can take these tests online or at a testing center in person.
Great. Thank you for that, Priyanka. And, we went through a lot of content today, so I think it'd be helpful just to kind of summarize what we went through. Now, when you're starting with preparing for the exam, always start with the exam guide, and that's really going to be your source of truth when it comes to understanding the topics that might show up on the exam, and ensure that you're really confident in each of those topics. And then to continue to round out your skills and develop in those areas that you're less confident with the on-demand learning path on Google Cloud Skills Boost, where you'll find those skill badges and go ahead and earn those skill badges to kind of create some of that energy as you're preparing for the certification and reaching that state of readiness. And then, of course, make sure you schedule your exam while seats are available.
Great. And I want to add one more thing to that, just a little tip. When you're starting to prepare for the certifications, you might sometimes need a buddy to hold you accountable or to ask questions and keep track of each other's progress. So you might need to discuss with other people as you're building your skills in a welcoming community. The Innovators program is really here to accelerate the learning and growth on Google Cloud and to recognize you for the contributions that you make to a broader cloud community. So you can learn more about joining the Innovator Program by visiting cloud.google.com/innovators.
Great. Thank you, Priyanka. So any other tips before we conclude that you'd like to share with our community?
So one of the other tips that I think is really important is to recognize your successes along the way. So like the skills badges that we talked about, as you gain them, keep sharing them on social media, put them on your resume. These are things that make you feel excited, make us feel excited that you're making progress on this journey. Make sure you show off those successes along the way in your journey using hashtag Google Cloud Certified.
Great. Thank you so much, Priyanka. And thank you, everybody, for joining us to learn more about the Google Cloud Professional Cloud Database Engineer certification. We look forward to seeing what you accomplish on your certification journey. See you in the cloud.